Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Something super exciting happened in the last couple weeks, and I want to bring you guys along for the journey. This is 14 years in the making, and I'm pretty excited to. Well, friends, I'll let the cat out of the bag. I bought another motorcycle. I've been off two wheels since 2010. The uh, we used to have stickers with the dates of your renewal, and my old war wagon, my ST 1100, the last license plate on it is like July of 2010. So time flies, friends. I had to hang up riding for 14 years, which was super hard at the time. And I look back now and it's like, whatever, you just do what you got to do. But yeah, it's been a long time in the making. I'm going to show you guys the bike I bought, but let's go down memory lane, a little trip down memory lane, and show you guys kind of where I started wrenching and my wrenching journey. I've been wrenching since bicycles, since I was like a 10-year-old. We didn't have a lot of money. I couldn't afford to take my bike in to get fixed, so I just started taking it apart. My mom always tells the story. She got home from work one day and I had my whole bicycle ripped apart. And she was like, I hope you know how to put that back together. And I was like, I'll figure it out. And that's kind of how my journey started, friends. We didn't have a lot of money. We lived in a, fairly poor section of a neighborhood. And I learned early on that hard work would get you places. I would buy bicycles, fix them up, and sell them at a small profit and buy a better bike, and etc., etc. Until finally one day, I had enough extra pocket change that my buddy had a dirt bike for sale. He said he was moving and he couldn't take his bike with him. They were moving to Ontario or something, and they didn't have room for his motorcycle. And so I bought a 1979 Yamaha 175 dirt bike for, I think I gave him like $50 for it or something. I was like 13 or 14. So that's what started my motorcycle journey. Now, I was digging around in the basement the other day, couldn't find it. Of course, I asked my wife, honey, do you know where such and such boxes with all the old photos? And um, my wife found it right away. So here's a trip down memory lane, my motorcycle journey, and then we'll talk about me hanging up two wheels for 14 years and my new bike. So let's go on a little journey through time. A young tin man, no tattoos in some of these pictures, and I've had a lot of fun over my life and lived a lot of life. But let's check this out. My wrenching on two wheels and wrenching in general started with motorcycles, friends, not with small engines. But let's check this out. This is my first street bike. We got it when I was 15. And anyways, I'll break to the pictures. Check this out, friends. Here's my first bike, 1982 650 Maxim. Pops and I redid this one. I was 15, and it had flowers growing out of the tank when I bought it. When I was 19 or 18, I got this bike, and there it is when it was done. I put a lot of work. 76 Ironhead Sportster in a Paco frame. Right foot shift, left foot brake, which throws you off. Really proud of that bike. I put a lot of time into it. There's the motor when I was done with it. Most unreliable bike I've ever owned. Here's me a couple years later, Daytona Bike Week, 2002. That's me on the beach. I bought that bike when I was 19. Who's that fella there? And there it was when I was done with it. Club style, a little bit of motor work, pipe, blacked out. And used to ride that thing like a sport bike. It was a lot of fun. Here's my chopper. This is the first year I had it. Did a bunch of work to it. And I wanted to show this. I paid a guy a bunch of money to do a paint job, and it wasn't supposed to look like that. It is what it is. So the following year, after breaking this frame wheeling, weird, not supposed to wheelie a chopper, I got a new frame and built a new bike. And here's me mocking this up. My brother was building his Sonoma then in the mom's garage. And here it is being mocked up. and prepped for chrome plating. I had that frame chrome dipped. It just fit in the guy's tank. There's my Grand Le Mans that I did. And there it is when it was finished. Red hockey tape for the grips. Just an awesome, awesome bike. I was very proud of that. I was like 20 when I built that bike. And there it is. Anyways, moving on. I moved on to sport bikes. That's me at Gimli, probably on a track day. And there's my Ducati that's in the house. I still own that bike. So there you go. A little trip down memory lane. I've had so many motorcycles, it's hard to remember them all. But that's just kind of an appetizer sampler. And that's how I got into building horsepower. That wide tire chopper, when I bought it, when I bought the bike that I used to build my chopper, because again, I did break the frame, wheeling it and just being a hooligan. I broke the neck on the frame, which is what caused me to rip it down. But that bike tapped the valve guide one fall, and it was burning oil really bad. So I took the heads apart and decided that had Buell Thunderstorm heads, which were a really hot head to put on a Sportster back in those days. So I sent those heads to Jake at Jake's Machining and said, throw the kitchen sink. I want these things to flow, as much air as possible with supporting camshafts. So that's what he did. And when I put that bike back together with a new set of pistons, the bike was like 11 and a quarter, 11 and a half to 1. It was an absolute monster. It was too much motor for that chassis, friends. It was hard to hold on to. And that was my daily ride. I rode that bike every day, rain or shine, for years, friends. And it was fun. I had a lot of fun on that bike. But of course, being a young hooligan and not thinking about consequences, it got to the point, friends, that bike was so well known that I'd get pulled over constantly. I couldn't ride it anymore. So I actually sold it to a fella out of province, so that he didn't inherit my problems. But that bike went down the road. But I used to rip that motor apart and look at things and measure things, and I did it all the time. I would pull the motor out of the chassis because it was like 6 bolts, and I was young and spry then. I could just pick that thing up and put it on the bench, and I would just tear it down and look at it. And yeah, that was a true 100 horsepower on the dyno, on multiple dynos, Sportster engine, which was really hard to get back then. So anyhow, friends, that's where I started, and then I got into riding sport bikes and big power, and that's kind of where I started out. Now let's talk about quickly. I don't want this video to be too long, but I had to hang up riding in 2010 officially. And what happened, friends? In 2008, my wife was struck by a car and sustained life-changing injuries. And so that happened. And the following year, I rode a little bit, and the year after, I hung it up. And that's kind of where that was. I was a bike guy. I hung out at the bike spots. I knew most of the riders in the region. Went to all the rides and events, and I was working on bikes, and that was my entire existence. That's all I thought about. And so I hung up riding. I closed my toolbox in like 2009, I think, and I didn't touch my tools for a period of about 5 years. And that's the way that went. So anyhow, moving forward, when we moved here, I put my ST into storage, not knowing that we had a massive mouse problem here, friends. This yard had 4 foot of grass, almost right up to the house. And what happened was I put my bike away with a cover on it, and the mice absolutely ravaged my bike. I know, friends. How did I let it get to this level? It's just too far gone. I tried to keep it alive. I mean, maybe I could pressure wash it off, fix the wiring. I don't know. I have a lot of good memories with this bike, and it's funny, friends. There was a local fellow who's an iron butt rider. Those guys, He's the kind of guy that'll ride to California for coffee. Anyways, friends, that's the ST. I'm sad it got to this. This thing's been sitting for 14 years. Notice the mirror's broken. We had a really bad storm here years ago. This was parked closer to the front door of the shop, and the door was open, and it actually blew over. And you guys can see 121,000 kilometers on this thing. Great bike. Ugly, but great. It's got full suspension but anyhow, guys, that's my old rig, my mile pounder V4, just a great bike. Let's go back into the shop, talk about what I bought. Okay, so that's where we're at. The ST is what it is. It hurts me, and things happen in life, friends. We've all seen the barn find collector cars and stuff. Nobody put that collector car away thinking they're not going to drive it for 15, 20, 30, 40 years. But I'm that guy, friends. Had to do what I had to do. And at the time we were moving here, a motorcycle was not high priority. Although I did put my Ducati in the house. So where it's lived for over a decade, it's in my house, friends. And we'll get it going one day. Okay, so moving along, where did that leave me? Well, I decided I'd like to buy another bike. And I started looking around. Now, friends, I am not brand loyal. Yes, I have Huskies, but I run Steels too, and Dolmars. I'm not a brand loyal guy. In my driveway right now is a Ford, a Chevy, and a Nissan product. I'm all over the map. I really like Harleys, so that's where I started my search. I started looking at Harleys again. To realize Harleys have really modernized in the last 10 or 15 years. Good for them. I think it needed to be done. I don't know where they're at sales-wise. I don't see a lot of new Harleys cruising around here. I did go to the dealer and look, and their bikes are really different now. And they don't make Dynas, which was the only Harley I was really looking at. So, was looking for a clean, low-mile Dyna that I could put a fairing and hard bags on because I need to cruise down the highway. And I continued looking around, and honestly, friends, I went back to Japanese. Well, why? Reliability, 100%. Japanese bikes are super reliable. What you get for your money. And I wanted to be able to ride the twisties, and I want out-of-the-box horsepower. I like a fast bike. So without further ado, after a lot of thought and looking around and kind of getting re-immersed in the bike culture, here's the bike that I picked, and I love it. It's a bike that I wanted to buy in 2008 when it came out. Couldn't afford one then. But now on the used market, they're fairly plentiful and reasonably priced. And this is the perfect bike for my needs. 2008 Kawasaki Concourse 14. And yeah, she's dirty. This is a rider's bike. This isn't a looking at bike, although I love the styling. This is a rider's bike. Meant for smashing miles. You guys can see it's covered in gravel dust. The highway was closed, so it was like 10K of gravel to go for a ride the other day. And I did it. Some of the features of this bike, right there, came with a Givey extra large top case with a backrest. So good for if I do take my wife for a ride, she can lean back. And nice, it fits a full-size helmet, lockable, removable hard bags, panniers for you folks in Europe, shaft drive, Love that. Maintenance free. Mirrors are in a spot where you can see everything behind you. Has an electronic. Let's see if we can. She's warm. I just took her for a spin. Fully adjustable electric windshield. It came with this lip, which is good. I'm too tall for this windshield. I'm like 6'2", 6'3", and I'm mostly upper body, so I'm very tall in the upper body. But this is a great bike so far. Very, very happy with it. It's very, very fast. 1352 cc's, 160 horse, 100 foot-pounds of torque roughly. It's got power. It's got power right now everywhere. Down low, medium, high range. That's not why I bought it though, friends. Dollar for dollar, pound for pound. This is probably in my region, and it looks like everywhere. I'm part of a Concourse owners group now online, and these are a deal. You can buy one of these for $5,000 Canadian, $6,000 Canadian. These 2008s with any miles I see in the States, they're like $300 to $3,500, sometimes up to $4,000. And hard to beat the performance you get. And it came with all the ram mounts. This is my that's my clamp mount. But yeah, it came with ram mounts and a mount for the GPS. I may get a GPS down the road, but anyhow, so far so good with this thing, and just really excited to be back on two wheels. And I think I picked the right bike. It's a bike that does everything. Don't get me wrong, I'd still love to get a vintage Harley. That's where my heart lies, but this is just a better bike. Why? Because it takes 1/10 the maintenance. It'll keep me warm in colder weather. It keeps the rain off me. It has ABS, which I've never had on a bike before. Definitely works. If I want to hit twisties, it'll do her all day long. And just a great bike. Anyhow, friends, that's what I bought. Perfect bike for commuting to work once in a while. I won't do that often, but we live highway here, and I have to rip the highway a distance to get to the city, or if I'm going grocery shopping. So I need a good highway bike. Also, I have to ride gravel. I live off of a gravel road, so I don't want anything that's full of chrome and shiny things because, well, that just doesn't suit my lifestyle. I need a fuel tank that will last a while, and I wanted one bike that does everything. And what I learned with my old trusty ST there, now that ST has some work done to it because the Tin Man don't leave anything stock. On the surface, it looks like a stock bike, but I have full, the front shocks were tweaked with progressive suspension, and I think I put valves in that. I can't remember. It's been a long time, friends. But the front forks are stiffened and built. That has a full, like an 812 series. I have the box for it still. Progressive rear shock on it. That bike handles. I used to go back roading with the sport bike crowd, and guys were usually like, wow. You know, I'd be dragging exhaust pipes on that thing. But so anyways, friends, I wanted a bike that does everything. I wanted to be able to grocery shop, commute, inclement weather, no problem. I needed saddlebags, and I wanted something that would tear up the back roads. So the Kawasaki Concourse 14 meets all those criteria. I like the way it looks, and it's comfortable. Electronic windshield that goes up and down. I think it's going to be a great bike. Now, does that mean I won't buy another Harley? Well, no, that doesn't, friends. I would still like, because I've never owned one. I've worked on them. I helped my buddy build one years ago. I rode with guys that had them. I still want a shovel head with a kickstart and a 4-speed and just an old school FLH shovel head, you know, a 70s style ape hangers. So I'm still going to keep my eyes open for one of those. That won't be a daily riding bike for me. I do have carpal tunnel and nerve damage in both hands, and vibration is not something that my body likes. But I think it's a second bike. A Harley Davidson would be great for me. But when it comes to reliability, and again, I'll get flamed for this, but I've worked on everything and I've owned everything. Japanese bikes are just stone dead reliable. You got to put a lot of hard miles on them before they start complaining. Um, Newer Harleys are super reliable, but they're still not on the level with the Japanese bikes, I don't think. So, anyhow, friends, we're gonna do some riding videos. I actually have an issue with my new bike. It's sitting on stands right now. I'll do another video on that. It's kind of funny, but no fault of the bike, a fault of a component on the bike, but we can do that another day. Anyhow, friends, hard work and being honest and working to your best ability and just making good decisions for your future, because you never know where you're going to end up, friends. If I kept partying and living like I did 20 years ago, who knows where I would be. I knocked all that stuff off and stopped hanging out at the bike spots, and I think quitting riding was the best thing I ever did, friends. It didn't feel like it at the time, but the crowd that I was hanging out with and the things I was doing and the people I was around, etc., I was going nowhere. So I think it was a good move for me to take some time off, and life decided it for me. I wouldn't have done that on my own, friends. I'm obsessive about my hobbies. Again, chainsaws, motorcycles, tattoos. Can't just have one. You gotta have 40 of them, right? That's just the way I am, friends. So, I think it was good to take a pause, work on my career, my relationship, and now look, I still have a child, have a beautiful 2-year-old girl. She'll be 2 in a couple weeks. Well, time flies, eh? And my career's never been better, and I have all you guys hanging out here on YouTube. Life's good, friends. So, you've heard Buckin say it, but it's true. Work hard, be kind, be honest. Good things will happen to you. It might take 5 years, 10 years, might take 15 years. Everybody's journey's different, but life is going to punch you in the face. Believe me, it's punched me many times. Do you roll with the punch, or do you lay down and turtle when life beats you up? It's all up to you. And I'm glad I made the choices I did. Anyhow, friends, thanks for watching. Take her easy. And I got a motorcycle. It's pretty awesome. It's good to be me. Do any of you guys ride? If you do, put a comment below. Love to hear from you guys. What do you ride? Thanks for watching. Take her easy. Later.